Hey everybody, Adam Phillips here for Dynamite Entertainment, and we're talking today with Jeff Parker, the writer of the upcoming project, Vampirella Mindwarp. Before we get into that, in just a moment, if you're watching at home, please hit the like button on this video and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the upcoming content on our YouTube page. It's good stuff. So, Jeff, how you doing? You look like you're in a nice neighborhood, or you must be on your front porch or something.
I'm on the back porch. I'm just sitting here. I was making deck chairs, and
Wow.
and then you pinged me, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're supposed to do that talk."
Well, I'm glad you were able to jump in and everything. And we're excited about Vampirella Mindwarp. It looks like a lot of fun. The 70s are always a lot of fun to explore as a setting, I think, for writers.
Oh
So
yeah.
what made you think of going in that direction, first of all?
Because I was looking at the Dynamite put out a big artist edition of Jose Gonzalez's artwork,
Mm,
mostly with Vampirella.
yes.
And I'm just looking at it. I love that stuff ever since I was a kid. Like it was on the rack with the magazines, and I would look at it, and I wasn't sure I was supposed to be looking at it, because it seemed a bit adult.
Yeah.
But no one would ever stop me. So I just, I read a lot of those Archie Goodwin stories. And, I just always had a real fondness for that and the whole era and all that sort of the occult backdrop. And then Nate Cosby brought it up to me about, do you have any ideas for possibly a Vampirella miniseries? And really quick, everything came together, and that
Mm,
doesn't usually happen. So I tend to jump on things if I'm like getting an idea really fast. And the
sure.
basic premise was that she was going to project back into her body of the time of like 1970. So it suddenly, like with all the knowledge she has in the past decades since arriving here, she's now back there when it was all fresh and new to her, and she's running around with
Hmm.
her boyfriend Adam Van Helsing, who is of the lineage of the great vampire killers,
Right.
and her magician friend Pendragon, who was always kind of the cover for her running. Why is this person in a red bikini with bats going around? It's because she's the magician's assistant. And so, and also
Ah.
I took it as like it's the late 60s, early 70s. You can just do that. And that, and that's kind of what we're running with here, is the fact that we're not so subtly saying many things were cooler at this point.
In a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, it's like not everything, and we would touch on that too, but we're pointing out like this was actually pretty fun, and we've lost some things, so
Interesting.
kind of free loving groovy spirit of the era. It's a little Austin Powersy, I guess, when you describe it like that. And they do
Nothing wrong
drive
with
in a
that.
cool car in episode 2.
Nice.
So
So
Ben
now,
Dewey did a great cover for that.
oh, cool. So now she's got a new adversary that she's meeting, the Baroness Gruzal. I suppose
Yeah.
that's how I would pronounce it.
Yeah,
Tell
we
tell
just
us
call her
about
the
her.
Baroness most of the time.
Oh, cool. Tell us about her. She's got an interesting goal.
Yeah, she's extremely old. Like the first time they met, they were both like in their 20s, and she's been fairly obsessed with Vampirella ever since.
Mm.
And in the classic Madman John Hamm in the elevator thing, Vampirella's take is, "I never think of you," you know. But the Baroness is obsessed on her, and she's very old and frail and about to die, and she wants to take over Vampirella's body so she can live, that vampire life, and be strong and healthy for another 1,000 years. But it all goes horribly wrong. Not horribly wrong. It goes wackily wrong. They both end up back, in like 1969, 1970. It's a whole cross time, but without really time travel. It technically is time travel, but not really.
Uh,
You'll see the way we define it in the book. We're not too worried about time paradoxes. Vampirella doesn't seem to be worried at all. Like she's like, wow, here's my boyfriend, and like this was an exciting time. Like now knowing that I'm going to live through all of this, I can just kind of enjoy things. I wanted to do something where she wasn't simply, the occult detective solving a thing or
mhm.
whatever, where it's very much about her character, and something that appeals to her, to the point that she might not be so worried about getting back and restoring things. Luckily, there's this other character who gets sucked into this, Ren, and he was hired by the Baroness to track her down and find her for her. And he would very much like to get back to the present. He's stuck in Pendragon's body. He's like, this isn't cool. I'm like a 75-year-old guy who has a bit of a drinking problem, and that becomes a plot point too. So it's a very atypical Vampirella story, is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, okay.
And then when I was so happy, Ben Dewey agreed to draw it. He is just a beast. He is so good.
Well, that's an appropriate turn of phrase, because I was going to say I've been a fan of his since Autumn Lands.
Oh yeah, the Tooth and Claw thing.
No, he's fantastic. I think he's super talented, and I hope people really get to enjoy what's coming up in this. It sounds like a lot of fun. And is there anything else you want to add about it before we wrap up here?
It's got cool cars, and everybody's dressed really cool because it's 1970. I mean, it could be slightly informed by what we do in the shadows, but not full on, because it's not a full on comedy, but there's definitely some funny stuff in it.
Sure.
Because I feel like horror and some humor go really well together.
Absolutely.
But also, I guess that's the other thing. I want to say that part of what we're addressing is the fact that Vampirella, when she came out, wasn't just really a horror comic. It was also what you would call gothic romance. Like that was a big thing at the time, but how many covers have you seen of women in dresses running away from mansions? We really dive into that. So there's a lot of romance in the book, maybe more than you've seen in quite a while.
We're going to show the covers now. This has been a lot of fun talking to you about it. And the first issue comes out on September 14th. So if you are watching this video, please go by your local comic shop. Tell the person behind the counter that you want to make sure they're holding copies for you of the first issue and beyond. And we'll look forward to it. Thanks so much for making time for us, Jeff.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, great.